Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to Torrin's Thoughts. This week, Law and Order. Chung chung. I didn't want to. I found the sound effect, but I was too afraid to use it because I didn't want to worry about any copyright infringement. So you got my awesome special sound effects. The chung chung or the doink doink or whatever sound it is that you make that replicates that sound for you. Why is that sound so hard to replicate? I did a little research. Turns out the chung chung is made up of 12 different sounds, including an actual gavel, a jail door shutting, and 500 Japanese monks walking across a hardwood floor. You guys, I don't know if you know this, but I have like a lady boner for Foley artists because I think it is amazing that they can figure out what things should sound like. For example, what does a T-Rex sound like? Foley artists figured that out. That's really cool. But we're not here to talk about Foley artists today. Maybe we'll do that one day, though, because it is kind of fascinating. No, we are here to talk about Law and Order. A lot of you know I am a huge fan of police procedurals. I think it probably started way, way back in the day when I was little, and I watched Barney Miller, which was not a procedural per se. It was a comedy set in a police station, but I think that's where my love of policemen began. I'm old. Also, when I was growing up, we got one channel. We got NBC. And I know some of you guys are thinking, well, you're not that old, which is true, but I lived in the country where they did not have cable. As a matter of fact, where I grew up, they still don't have cable. They have satellite dishes like Dish and DirecTV, but as far as cable like Comcast, no, they still don't have cable. That's how far out in the boonies I used to live. Yeah. So we got one channel. If you were lucky enough to live on top of a hill and you put up a really big antenna, sometimes you could pick up PBS and very occasionally Fox. But I never saw a CBS show until I went to college because I didn't have cable. I never saw MTV except when my friend Jen would just tape an entire videotape just full of MTV and bring them to school for me so I could see the videos and stuff because I didn't have any MTV. How about them apples? Yeah, MTV used to play music videos. That's always good. Okay, any hoodles, Law and Order. Law and Order began in 1990. I was still in middle school. So it was on a long time ago. It ended in 2010. It was on for 20 seasons. That's a lot. There were 400, I wrote it down because I'm not good with numbers, 456 episodes of Mothership, which is what I refer to as the original Law and Order. Law and Order, Mothership, and sometimes I call it Law and Order Original Flavor because, of course, like any awesome thing, there have been spin-offs. Law and Order SVU is still on. I think it's in its 17th season. There was Law and Order Criminal Intent, which I also loved. It only had 10 seasons. And then there were a few others that I had to write down because I didn't watch them. Pardon. Sorry, you guys. All the trees down here they're having sex right now. There's a lot of pollen in the air and it's wreaking havoc on my vocal cords. Okay, Trial by Jury, it was only one season. And Law and Order Los Angeles, also only one season. I did not watch either of those. I think I watched 2 episodes of Los Angeles and didn't like it because I had Terrence Howard on it, and I don't like him. I don't like him as an actor. And from everything I've seen in the media, which it's the media, so how good of a representation that is, hey. But from everything I've seen in the media, I don't like him as a person either. and that's okay. You can't like everybody. So, yes, that's also why I don't watch Empire, even though Taraji P. Henson's on it, and I love her. So, sorry. Any hoodles? Yes. At any point of any given day, you have probably seen or can catch an episode of Law and Order. I think it is currently on 6 different networks in syndication. Syndication is awesome for people like me who grew up with one channel. Luckily, I got the Law and Order channel, but there were a lot of shows that I never saw because I didn't get that channel. And now there are so many channels on cable that just do nothing but play reruns of things. So, you know, back before Netflix, this was how you could watch a show that perhaps you hadn't seen. Now we have Netflix, we can just watch everything back to back, or Hulu, or whatever you watch. Or you can just buy it on DVD. For example, you would think, since this is one of my favorite shows of all time, that I would own these on DVD, but I don't. Because like I said, at any time of day, I can watch a Law and Order episode. It may not be original flavor, it may be SVU, it may be Criminal Intent, but somehow there's something Law and Order on. And in the weird times when I can't find Law and Order, I can always find CSI in one of its 3 iterations. So, why is Law and Order, why was it so successful for so many years? And why is this show near and dear to my heart? Okay, well, what I like about this show is the fact that you get to see both sides. Half the show is the cops catching the bad guy, and the other half of the show is the prosecutor trying to send the bad guy away. Now, this was actually really different when it started because almost every lawyer show was all about the defense attorneys. Even shows now, like How to Get Away with Murder, that's a lawyer show. It's all about the defense. Matlock. I'm showing my age, y'all. Although I do recommend Matlock when you can't sleep. It's very soothing. Defense attorney. It's Perry Mason. Defense. It's always about the defense attorneys. And this show was about the prosecuting attorney. It was about the good guys. Not that every single person they arrested was always guilty, but for the most part, they're the good guys. They're trying to put the bad guys away. And that was kind of refreshing. Also refreshing, we don't deal with crooked cops. A lot of the cop shows, there's a lot of that goes on. You know, they're in bed with the mob, they're taking bribes, they're not on the straight and narrow kind of thing. And I understand, and even Law and Order has dealt with every now and then there's a cop that's, you know, maybe not quite doing what they're supposed to do, but for the most part, the cops on the show are good guys. And there is a very primal part of me that still sort of believes in good versus evil, or at least really likes it in my storytelling. I do like lots of shades of gray too, but I like good versus evil. I like it when the bad guys get put away. I like it when the good guys triumph. I like that. It makes me feel better. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's nice, it's simple, it's to the point. Hey. One of the other reasons I think it has been so lasting is they always try to talk about the issues of the day. They always try to, the cases on the show are ripped from the headlines, so they're topical, and it's really kind of fun to go back and watch the ones from the early 90s to kind of see what was going on in America, the US at the time. It's kind of interesting, especially when you're probably 15 to 20 minutes into a case and you're like, oh my gosh, I know what case this was. Yeah, so that's kind of good. They've always had top-notch actors. Law and Order was actually filmed in New York City. Most shows are still filmed in LA, but I think half the reason Law and Order LA didn't work was because it was not New York City, because the show has always used New York kind of as its own character. There's a lot of local flavor in the scenes, people on the street, the buildings, just it feels like New York. And I have seen some other shows that take place in New York, but they weren't filmed in New York, and it does not feel like New York. The one I'm thinking of off the top of my head is The Strain, that is supposed to be in New York City. You guys, I know Toronto when I see it. That's not New York City. It's not gonna work. I'm just saying. Any hoodles, yes. So they always use the city itself to great effect, and they use the passel of amazing actors that live there. Almost everybody you see on Law and Order has been on Broadway at some point or another. They are theater veterans. Sometimes, it's just, oh, I'm such a big fan of the show. Can I be on the show? And they get to be on the show. So that's always kind of fun too. But, and you get to see, especially when you watch, like binge watch, because you know how they're on every channel. It's usually like 6 episodes at a time. Sometimes it's 6 concurrent episodes. Sometimes it's just 6 random episodes from whenever. And it's kind of nice because you will see an actor play a lawyer in an episode. The next episode, he might be the suspect. The episode after that, maybe he's a cop from a visiting station. In another episode, he's a judge. Or she. This happens a lot. You see repeats of actors. You don't even realize it. Like, you're like, I know that person. Where did I see them? Probably on a previous episode. Or on an episode on one of the offshoots. Before I go to the offshoots, though, I just want to tell you what my very favorite lineup of Law and Order was. The cast changed over the years. It was on for 20 years, you guys. You're going to have that. People leave to do other projects. People get tired. Some people pass away. Rest in peace, Jerry Orbach. You will always be my favorite detective. Yes, so my favorite lineup actually occurred in season 5. Season 5, we had my 2 favorite detectives, Lenny Briscoe and Mike Logan, which was Jerry Orbach and Chris Noth. They are my 2 favorite detectives, hands down. Although I will say that anybody that was paired with Briscoe was always better for it, because Jerry was really, really good at that character and always had very good chemistry with whomever his partner was. It was after he passed that the show just really suffered, because he was the heart of that show. So those are my 2 favorite detectives. I have my favorite captain, Sapatha Murkison, Lieutenant Van Buren. She is my favorite captain. I love Dan Florek. I love him, but Lieutenant Van Buren is my favorite lieutenant. It had my favorite DA, Adam Schiff. My favorite ADA, Jack McCoy. I love McCoy, and his assistant, Claire Kincaid. Yes, that is, I have a picture of season 5. This was my favorite lineup. It was the first year for McCoy, and yeah, that was my absolute favorite lineup. So anytime one of those episodes is on, I'm always excited. Season 5 was the best for me. Even though I will watch any season. The only seasons that I don't like super, super much are the ones with Jeremy Sisto, and it's not his fault. It was just, I could never buy him as a cop. After he played Brenda's brother in 6 Feet Under, he was too good at that role. So anytime I see him in another role, it's hard for me. So it doesn't mean you're not a great actor, Jeremy. It just means that you were a little too good on 6 Feet Under. I don't know. But they're still not bad. episodes, they're just not my favorite episodes. So Law and Order had many spinoffs. So I'm going to talk about the two that I actually watched. The first spinoff was SVU, Special Victims Unit. It's more of the sex crimes kind of thing, or crimes that involve children, or the kind of squicky stuff goes on SVU. And you've got Mariska Hargitay, who has been there since the beginning. I think she might be the only original. Dan Florek might be too, the captain. I still really, really miss Chris Maloney. I mean, I know why he left, and I don't blame him for leaving, but I still miss Detective Stabler so hard every day. You have no idea. Yeah, I miss Stabler. But yeah, I mean, it's got a good cast too. Ice-T is still there. Munch left not that long ago. I miss Richard Belzer because I liked T and him together. I thought they had a really nice play. It's sometimes it's better than others. My biggest gripe with SVU recently has been that Olivia Benson is always in peril. And I'm like, Olivia is so much smarter than this. She would not be getting herself into these situations. So stop it. Stop treating our detectives like they're morons. They are not morons. Writers, seriously. But this is my favorite lineup of SVU, which of course has Stabler in it. But also, oh, now I've forgotten her name. The ADA. Cabot. Cabot was my favorite DA, although Barba that they have now is awesome because that's Raul Esparza, and I have a big crush on that very, very short man. I love him. I love the energy he brings. So I am still watching SVU. I will watch it till it goes off the air. That is just the way it is. And yes, I also watch it in reruns. And finally, Criminal Intent, which was Vincent D'Onofrio and Elizabeth Irby. Eames and Gorin and Eames. Gorin and Eames, my favorite. I didn't even mind it when I think D'Onofrio was doing other things. Or maybe it was Catherine that was doing other things, but they kind of started to split them. So we'd have half the episodes with Gordon Eames and then the other half with, and I cannot remember their names, Jeff Goldblum and the redhead. Or Detective Logan, because Criminal Intent brought back Chris Noth as Detective Logan, which was kind of nice, and I enjoyed that. But I also loved Goldblum. I do love Jeff Goldblum. I don't even know why. He's appealing to me. But even when they switched it up like that, it was okay. But Courtney B. Vance, who is currently slaying it as Johnny Cochran over on American Crime Story: The People vs. O.J. Simpson, was a DA on that show. And awesome. And Jamie Sheridan, I think, was my favorite captain. But yes, I really, really liked Criminal Intent because I really, really liked Vincent D'Onofrio. And I really liked Catherine Irby playing off of him. I liked those two characters very, very much. So yeah. Any hoodles, we're going to be 20 minutes of me just yakking about Law and Order. I think I've covered most of things. A couple small tiny tidbits. A road near Pier 62 at Chelsea Piers in New York City has been renamed Law and Order Way because the show filmed there, in New York for so many years, which is really cool. If any of you live in New York City and can take a picture of that for me and just send it to me for confirmation, that would be cool. I don't know. Let's see, some numbers. As of today, 1,068 episodes of Law and Order over its very permutations have aired on television. That's a lot. Original Flavor had 456 over 20 seasons. SVU 380 over 17 seasons. Criminal Intent 195 over 10 seasons. And the other two only had one season each. I believe Trial by Jury was 13 episodes, and LA, I think it had a full 22. But that's a lot of episodes of Cops and Lawyers. And I'm still watching it. And I still watch it when it's on. I go to sleep to it at night. I find now sometimes I have to go through 2 channels. So I'll watch like 2 episodes of Law and Order and then have it switch over to Criminal Intent. Sometimes I fall asleep within 10 minutes. Sometimes I watch all of them. It happens. Any hoodles, I just kind of wanted to share my love of the best police procedural of all time. They've been talking about maybe rebooting Mothership for a short limited series run, bringing back McCoy, because Sam Waterston's like, of course I'll do it. Are you kidding? So I kind of hope they do it, just because I really think it would be fun. It's not like we're running out of rip from the headlines cases for them to cover. You know, I know a lot of people are working in tons of other things right now, but you know, a limited series run, like even if it was only 6 episodes, that would be great. Like every couple of years, just get the gang back together and put out a few episodes of television. I'd be okay with that. And then they can join all the syndication. Any hoodles, that's enough for today. If you are also a Law and Order fangirl or fanboy, commiserate in the comment section. What is your favorite lineup of any of the series? You know, what's your favorite lineup? I'm curious. Does everybody like Claire like I do? Does everybody else love Briscoe and Logan the best? Or do you prefer Briscoe and Curtis or Briscoe and Green? Because Jesse L. Martin was a fine man. He's still a fine man. He was a fine detective. Anyways, any hoodles, I'm going to shut up now, and I will see you all tomorrow with something, and I don't know what it is yet, but we'll do something. Okay, until then, have a great day. I love you guys. Bye.